How we doing, roofers? In this video, I'm going to talk about zooming out to get a clearer view of your business and giving up control of certain aspects in order to scale to the next level. Now, to preface, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Delara. I'm the B2B marketer here at Roof Ignite. And what that means is that I'm responsible for understanding your guys' perspectives and knowledge. To sum it up, I see what you guys are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Your problems, your circumstances, desired outcomes where you want to be with your business. I get to see very intimately, whether it's from reviewing sales calls, going through Facebook comments, going through YouTube comments, etc., etc. Even meeting with some of you in person and helping you film some ads and content. I get to see very intimately all of these details. And I get to have an outside perspective that allows me to diagnose problems in your business, constraints in your business that you, as the emotionally clouded business owner, might not be able to see. Now, that is not whatsoever intended to be in. What I mean by this is whenever we have our own thing, it's our baby. And it's very hard for us to see any flaws. We think that we're doing everything exactly the way it needs to be done. We're trusting the process and we're putting our best foot forward. We're doing the best we can. But sometimes there are problems in the business that are so burning, so simple, so obvious that when somebody comes in and takes a 2-minute look, or somebody who just has so much expertise in the field, has seen all these things before, knows exactly the type of person they're dealing with, they can look at it for just about 5 minutes and immediately fix all of the constraints that are currently popping up, right? I'm not saying that's what I can do. But again, I have this perspective where I've seen so many interactions. I've seen so many of you come through our sales process with so many of the same or similar problems at different stages of revenue in your business that I can tell you, for example, before about the $3 million a year mark, depending on your average ticket, your margins, et cetera, it's oftentimes companies will have the owner wanting to control just about everything, right? This is what Alex Hormozy calls key man risk. If you are attempting to handle every single thing as the business owner, the second you're not capable of showing up for even one day, everything could break. And not only this, but oftentimes this key man, right, this owner who wants to handle everything and put everything on their shoulders, they might not be doing as effective or efficient a job as they certainly could be if they went ahead and delegated things to experts. A really easy, simple example is hiring sales reps. I see many times companies doing 2.5 million, 4 million a year even, where the owner is still deeply, completely involved in the sales process. And there's nothing wrong with that, to be clear, in the sense that the owner should get out there and sell and be very close to the product and be very close to what they do. But if you're handling all of your appointments, if you're also managing all your projects, if you're also making sure you're keeping track of your crews, if you're answering calls for the business, you will get spread thin, you will get burnt out, and your business will not be able to grow. It will be constrained because it all relies on you. If something happens to you, or if you just make an emotional decision in a moment, right? Anything could break. However, if you were to hire a sales rep who was almost as good as you, and you train them up to be just as good, if not better, and you paid them accordingly, your business could grow so much more quickly because you're able to zoom out. You're able to give up control and train somebody, pour into somebody, have a real impact on somebody else, and grow your business and grow your influence in the community, so on and so forth as a result. Another great example is on the content side, on the advertising, marketing, branding, word of mouth side. Yes, you can be involved in so many stages of this process and still have super high leverage. We encourage all of our clients to take as many videos as possible, to take as many pictures as possible of their crews, of their trucks, of their job sites, shaking hands with homeowners. That's stuff that you're already doing. You're just not getting it on camera. So if you're already doing it, you might as well film it. And then that can be used as content, as advertising assets, as branding, as word of mouth, and so much more. I think this is one of the greatest fears that people have about marketing is they say, I don't want to be filming my entire life, or I want to keep things private. And that's great. You should keep things private. You should be selective about what you put out there. If a homeowner doesn't want to give a testimonial, they don't want to give a testimonial. Do not push it, right? But in those moments when you don't think there's anything good there, like you're doing a tear off and it's all ugly and there's trash everywhere, just take a couple pictures. That can be so much more leverage than you think. And then you pass it off to somebody who's an expert in content creation, right? Because you're not going to be editing these pictures. You're not going to be editing these videos. You won't know what to look for. Or if you do, again, it's not a great, effective use of your time to be attempting to do that because it steals so much attention, right? Which is why passing those types of things off, the editing, the posting, the distribution through paid advertising, it just simply makes so much more sense to pass that off to whether it's an in-house team or an in-house person. And especially if you work with an agency partner like us here at Roof Ignite, who has such a deep understanding of the roofing industry, of what roofers face, of what homeowners face when they're evaluating roofers, who's seen what's worked and what hasn't worked in advertising to homeowners, in the sales process. When you work with the right people and the right teams and the right agencies, there's kind of no cap to your growth. At this stage, when you're able to zoom out and see what is my biggest bottleneck right now in my roofing business? What's the thing that's stopping me from getting to the next level the most? Is it sales? Are my reps not producing enough? Are they not prospecting hard enough? Or when they get to the kitchen table, are they just explaining and not consulting? Not attempting to create a relationship, not attempting to essentially befriend your potential customers and make a real impact in your community. Super common problem with sales reps, as I'm sure you know. They want to sell, 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 right? And that is the reputation that you have in the marketplace. If you can overcome that reputation by doing it better than the rest, well, chances are you'll have a better sales experience and you'll make more sales, right? Almost more often than not, when roofers come through our sales process, they have a much bigger sales problem than they have a marketing problem. But if you've already fixed the sales problem, maybe you have a marketing problem. You might have not enough leads coming through, right? Maybe you have a ton of leads coming through, but they're not really going anywhere, or they're not picking up the phone. Or what we see all the time is your team is not calling the leads quickly enough. Or you have a call center that kind of asks generic questions, just doesn't do all that well in terms of booking people onto your actual calendar because these homeowners don't trust your team. Maybe your marketing problem is such that you're spending a lot, but it's not necessarily it's not bringing in a reliable, sustainable cost per appointment, right? Or maybe it's simply not bringing quality appointments. People who are renting, people who are just trying to get 50 different quotes. Well, we have plenty of videos on this channel that talk about how you can fix those types of problems. But of course, the easiest way to fix that problem might be to outsource these issues to a marketing agency like Roof Ignite, right? It can be as simple as that. We've seen it happen for 80 plus roofers. We've helped them generate over 50 million in revenue. We're really just getting started. But again, zooming out and being able to give up control is about recognizing I probably won't be the one that knows the answer to this problem right off the top of my head. Because again, as the owner or as the person in my perspective, my judgment is clouded. I am biased towards what I want, what I think is best, what will be most comfortable for me to do. If I am constantly looking at what I think is best, I'm probably going to stay in bed all day because that's going to keep me the most comfortable, right? So I need to look at outside sources, mentors, business partners, agency partners. I need to consult with these people. I need to pour into these people and allow them to pour into me. And I need to listen to my team. I need to listen to my sales reps and see what do they think the problems are. Earlier this year, along with the team, Manny and Oscar, the founders, and John and Cole, a couple other team members here at Roof Ignite, we went to the IRE, the International Roofing Expo. And of course, it's not exactly like a mentorship conference. It's not exactly a mastermind, but you get to speak with so many different people in your exact spot in the industry who have seen your problems over and over, who know exactly how to fix it, who have solutions for it. If you have challenges with your CRM, there's a guy who has a whole CRM company there. And whether you buy their service or not, or their product, you can at least have a conversation about, here's what I'm dealing with. I've tried to fix it this way. Seems like it should work, but in reality, I know it won't. You might not even know in your heart that you have problems in your business, a bottleneck. It might be something that you haven't even thought of. It very often is. For example, it might not be sales or marketing at all. It might be something with your crew that you're not even aware of if you're not tapped in enough into your business. There might be issues with your reputation that you're not aware of. You see your 5-star Google reviews, but you don't hear what people are actually saying on the ground. Or somehow there's this Reddit review that popped up out of nowhere, or some video on TikTok got posted. And now suddenly, since homeowners are getting earlier and earlier in the age bracket, right? They actually might hear about you on TikTok and decide not to work with you because of something they heard, right? And so there are things like this that you might not be aware of at all, which are called unknown unknowns. Your sales rep might be on the side taking jobs, handing them off to one of his buddies and selling them for half the price. And you're seeing, well, he closes well enough, but what happened to this job? How come I see this roof getting up? Well, it's not. Very, very common story that I've heard many times over, by the way. You have to be able to zoom out. You have to be able to recognize, look, if I've stagnated, meaning if I've stayed in the same spot at the same revenue for 6 months, a year, 2 years, there's probably a very big problem that I'm either aware of or I'm not aware of. Either I'm ignoring this problem by choice, or there's something in my psychology that's not allowing me to look at it. And for me personally, the reason I'm out here at this beautiful view on this beautiful road is because many times, in order to be able to zoom out and recognize that I have decisions like this to make, I need to get away from my day to day. I need to escape from appointments and fixing systems and constantly answering calls and texts and responding to messages. Everybody needs to do this. You can't have a successful company if you are constantly in every aspect of the business. You also have to work on the business. And of course, you have to take Sundays off. You have to take weekend with your family. You have to take vacations once in a while with a purpose. Of course, everybody in the go-getter business culture, they'll say never take a vacation, never stop. If you have children, of course, you're going to take a vacation, right? As long as your business is doing fine. Sometimes you need to take strategic time off to be able to go and think. And that will help you recognize some of these issues. You need to zoom out. You need to recognize I am not completely able to accomplish everything I need to do. Otherwise, and this is something I see in our comments, in our sales process all the time, if I was capable of all of that, I would already be at 10 million a year. I would already be at 20 million, 30 million, 40 million a year. If I was able to do all of the things that I'm saying I'm able to do on my own, 100%, I would be there already. This is something that really grinds my gears. I truly do not understand it whatsoever. Is this pushing away of responsibility and judgment, in a sense, when somebody will see my company is doing 2.5 million a year, but I have the perfect systems. If you have the perfect systems, brother, you'd be at 20 million. You'd accomplish your revenue goal already if everything was perfect. Now, of course, if you just implemented the system yesterday, you can't expect that tomorrow you'll 10x your revenue, right? But if you have the perfect system will yield the perfect result. And it's as simple as that. And it's going to be very difficult to have the perfect system if you're not listening to people who already have something proven, if you're not giving up control to people who have great ideas, whether they're on your team or outside your team, if you're not testing new things, if you're not creative in how you proceed with new ideas and new approaches to doing business. It might be that a new product is introduced to the market, something like a roofing spray, right? And you choosing not to adopt this into your arsenal, it could be good, it could be bad. You have to take risks sometimes as well. I mean, you always have to take risks, frankly. If you want to grow your business, you will always have to take more financial risk than you're probably comfortable with. And that's why it's a risk. Because it's not going to be comfortable. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you need to be able to take some time zoom out, attempt to see things more clearly, and recognize I probably need help in some way or another. Again, whether that's a sales rep, a new mentor, a new event I need to attend, a new sales agency I want to hire, a new marketing agency I want to hire, like Roof Ignite, the link below in the description. You need to recognize that there are so many tools available to you. There are so many resources and people available to you to help you get to that next level. And you need to make the choice to take the risk to believe in them. It's a lot easier when they already have proven results like we do at Roof Ignite. But frankly, take the time, go out in your neighborhood to a view like this. Try to zoom out. Try to just think about things. Go for a run, a walk, sit on a park bench. Take some time away by yourself to think about, what's that thing I've been putting off? Who's that company I've been putting off reaching out to? Why is my marketing so messed up? Why is my sales so messed up? Is this team member really causing these problems, or is it me not being able to train this team member well enough? These are the types of questions to ask. And again, here at Roof Ignite, we're all about radical responsibility. If something goes wrong, it is always my fault. And that's the mentality you need to be able to take in order to get to the next level of scale. So zoom out, give up so much of your control, stop thinking you can do everything on your own. And once again, link below in the description if you'd like to have a call with our team here at Roof Ignite. Talk soon.